Okay, we're going to look at the Unit 6 test ahead of time because it's tricky. And I already had to go back and reteach one of the lessons in this unit because it's tricky. And I want you to succeed, so I'm going to help you out in this way. So let's work on this together. This is a good example of what your test will look like on Tuesday. Wink, wink, hint, hint. Okay. So I've got a few boxes up here we need to fill in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Write the two enharmonic names, for example, F sharp or G flat, of the indicated piano keys in each of the boxes. So clearly you can see how having your keyboard would be beneficial to you. Yes? Okay. So Bennett, what did you get for box 1? F sharp and G flat. So nicely enunciated. Kayla, box 2. C what? Yes. C sharp and B flat. That is correct. Serenity, box 3. G sharp and A flat. Gracie, box 4. You have to speak up. That's correct. And Elvia, what'd you get for box 5? A sharp and B flat. I think part of some of the problem with my being able to hear you is this. I've just realized it's got a pretty loud motor on it. Sometimes I don't hear you. Oh, no.
Okay. Okay.
Another reason why. Okay, draw the bass clef. There's the first part of the instructions. Do that. I can cross that off. That's done. Check. Good, great. And name the notes. If you don't draw the bass clef, any note name you put on there is just wrong. Because it could be treble clef, it could be tenor clef, it could be alto clef. There's a number of different clefs that it could be. So, good boys do fine always, all cows eat grass. Go ahead and name the notes first, and then go back through and put in your signs. All cows eat grass. F, good boys do. All cows, good. Middle C, all cows eat. All good boys do fine. And put in your symbols. The symbols go after the letter. Three, draw the treble clef. Name the notes. Take care of the letters first, and then we'll go back through and add the symbols. Face, and every good boy does fine. Every good. D, F-A-C-E, F-A. That's an A. There's middle C. Every good boy does. Every good. And B. Putting in my symbols. F sharp, G flat, D sharp, E flat, A flat, A sharp, C sharp, D flat, G sharp, B flat. And I believe it would be just today, but there was no homework.
The reason it was supposed to be tomorrow, but since it's a half day and we're technically not having classes, they moved it to today for the weekend, since we have a fair day on Monday.
humor.
Yeah.
4. Draw a treble clef and the notes as indicated below using half notes. Use correct stem direction. It even goes as far as to tell you to be sure and check your stem direction. So if they're wrong, they're wrong. So treble clef first. Got that done. And the notes as indicated using half notes. So I'm just going to go through and put in all my note heads first.
Sounds like a sick puppy.
I'll actually keep it on the staff for you. Sounds like a fun puppy. Now I'm going to turn them all into half notes. Now I'm just, the simple matter of going through and putting in my symbols. When the symbols are on the staff, do they go before or after the note? Before. They're opposite in this case. Okay, I want to caution you here. Some of you get kind of sloppy about the placement of the sharp signs or the natural, not even natural, or the flat signs. Remember that we practice how to put them on a space or on a line, and you need to be accurate with that. The sharp symbol, that little square, if it's on a space, needs to be in the space. If it's on a line, the line would go through the square that the four legs make. The flat symbol on a space, do your half a heart in there and then pull your line through. If it's on a line, make sure that the line's going right through the body of it. All right, so let's look at example 5. I'm betting that the reason that this is on here is to make sure that you understand that an accidental in a measure holds true unless canceled out by one of two things. There's 3 exceptions, actually. What's one of them? A bar line. Another one?
Natural.
A natural symbol. And the third one? Anybody besides Ashton? Ashton.
If the note was tied.
That's right. The bar line wouldn't cancel if it was tied to the next measure. It would stay the same. Good job, Ashton. I'm proud of you. Not disappointed that you know the answer. You should know the answer. Okay, so here we go. The first thing you need to do is name all these notes. Ignoring the signs, name the notes first. I'm in treble clef. Every good boy does fine. F-A-C-E. D, E, D, C, E, B, E, B, E, D, A, G, A, G, B, G, G, A, G, A. I don't have a key signature to worry about, which is coming in the next unit. So I'm going to take them at face value. So the next note is E. I see a symbol here, must be E flat. In fact, I'm just going to go through the entire line, and any note that has a flat or a sharp on it, I'm just going to go ahead and pull that name right down. So here's a flat, so this has to be flat. There's a natural, stays the natural. G sharp. There's a natural, stays a natural, and A flat. Now what I need to do is go through and check repeated notes and make sure that the symbol is the same for it. So there's an accidental here on E flat. So I'm looking to find any other E's in this measure. There's one on the third beat. What should this note be? E flat, because it hasn't passed the bar line yet. And there was no natural symbol, and it's not tied to anything else. So the first measure is good because I've already done that one. Now I've got BB, and then this natural symbol is an editor's courtesy to you. It's not actually needed because nothing in the key signature is telling us. But that's just a little friendly reminder that in your previous measure they were flatted, and if that wasn't there, you're still expected to name this note as E natural. Okay? Okay, so everything else is good in this measure. Now I'm checking the next measure. The first accidental I see is a G sharp. So I'm checking all the notes that are on that line in this measure. Here's another G. It needs to be G sharp because it was sharped in the beginning of the measure here. And then we've already taken care of this one because we just named it. It went back natural, so this one's not natural. And the last measure. Here's the first pitch I see with an accidental on it. It's on an A, so I need to check in the measure to see if there's any other A's. There is on beat 4. And there's no natural sign, so this note here needs to be named A flat. Any questions about that? Good theory taking tests are when you're working smarter, not harder, and doing little tricks like naming all your notes and getting that out of the way will help you be more efficient and work quicker so that you can spend your time on the tricky part of that, which is figuring out which ones have accidentals and what their real names are. 6. Draw 2 enharmonic notes on the staff as indicated and name the notes in the spaces below them. Each one of these little examples corresponds to a measure, and the first one's asking for 1/2 step above F. 1/2 step above F. So look at your keyboard. I'm going to find F, and I'm going to move 1/2 step up. And there are 2 names there. So I'm looking for F sharp and G flat. So I'm going to go ahead and write those in. F sharp, G flat. I'm going to take care of that in every measure first. B, 1 whole step below C. Look at your keyboard. And a whole step is 2 half notes. So I'm moving down, 1, 2. The 2 names I find there are A sharp and B flat. C, 1 whole step above B. Bennett, what is 1 whole step above B? What 2 names do you find there?
Did you skip the half steps up there? You started on the half steps and you jumped down to the whole steps.
My bad. I started here.
You started explaining it, and then when you moved it up, you went to the whole steps. So what you've done so
well,
far
let's
is
just finish
fine.
7.
Yeah.
And then I'll go back to 6.
Yeah.
C, Bennett, we're on whole steps. And whole steps are 2 half steps. So what is 1 whole step above B? C sharp and D flat. Adriana, D, 1 whole step below F. Yeah, 75% of what you said was correct. D sharp and E flat. And the last whole step there, 1 whole step above C flat. Sierra, give you a tricky one. Say it again. C sharp and D flat. That's kind of a tricky one. That says 1 whole step above C flat. Well, if you're trying to find C flat on your keyboard, what note should you actually be looking at? B. So C sharp and D flat is a whole step above. Okay, let's take care of the half steps now. 1 half step above F. Josh, what do you find a half step away from F going up?
Sure.
F sharp, G flat. Kayla, one half step below D. What do you find there? Did you say E? E is going up. We're asking for below. So find D, and we're just moving one note away. A half step is just one note away. C is two notes away. Do you see the black key in between C and D? So you need to stop on the black key there. And those are the two names you're looking for. What are those? C sharp and D flat. So if we were on whole steps still there, Kayla, that would have been right. A whole step, you skip one. We're on half steps now, so you're just going to the very next one. That's the difference here, okay? C, one half step above B. Jocelyn? One half step above B. Remember, we're looking for enharmonic names here. I know, this is a tricky question. Serenity? C and B sharp.
You said B flat.
Oh, I meant B sharp.
Oh, blast. Well, you would have been right, but you weren't. D, one half step below G. Cody, put your phone away. You got no time to be doing that, I promise you. Cody, can you answer what is one half step below G? Oh, see me after class. I can't be doing this. Gracie, one half step below G. That's right. If you'll notice, I'm sort of keeping the form of all my answers the same way. I'm putting the sharps first and the flats next because it's going to help me when I go in and I have to draw these notes on the staff, okay? You could choose to do the flat note first and then the sharp, but it's nice to keep it consistent instead of mixing them all up. You'll be able to go much quicker. And E, one half step above A, Avery.
Half step above A. One half step above A would be B flat or A sharp.
That's right. So because I started using all sharps first, I'm going to switch those and put A sharp, then B flat. Okay, so draw two enharmonic notes on the staff as indicated and name the notes, and then the spaces below them. So we sort of did this out of order. We did the spaces below them first so that we know what we're trying to find. It didn't tell us what type of note we needed to draw in the staffs, but what should you use? Making it easy on yourself, a whole note. Use whole notes, okay? So I'm going to go through and put just the letter names first in every measure. So F and G, C and D, and because I put them all in the same order, all mine should sort of line up together. B and C, F and G, A and B. The next one, F and G, I'm moving to bass clef. A and B, C and D, D and E, and C and D. Now all I have to do is put in my symbols on the staff. So the first one will always be sharp on my example, and the second one is flat if it calls for it. There's a couple places where that's not necessarily true.
Please pardon the interruption. I know I've made several announcements today, and I do apologize. A couple of things. Students, tomorrow will be an A day. We will have A1, A2, A3, and A4. Young ladies, if you're going to wear your mums, please make sure that they're not a distraction. The bells that are on there, you may want to take those so they're not making a lot of noise. And as a reminder as well, Monday is our state fair day. We will not have school. So once again, a reminder, tomorrow is A day. Young ladies, if you wear your mums, please make sure that it's not a distraction and that we have the bells and whistles and so forth taped down. And Monday is a school holiday. Thank you.
Okay. So, example 6 and example 7. One of these examples have measures where both notes sound exactly the same. So raise your hand if you think these two notes sound exactly the same. These two are the same. These are, so if you say it's example 6 are all exactly the same or example 7, raise your hand if it's 6. Raise your hand if it's 7. Well, Ms. Duke, would you play example A for us and number 6? Those sound exactly the same. B. Great. Yeah, it's these. These are all enharmonic. They sound exactly the same. Would you play A and number 7? That sounds exactly the same. B. C. So it's both. Enharmonic means two names for the same note. Got it? Two names for the same note. So I had hands on both of them. Both of you were right. Okay, 8. The enharmonic note for E sharp is Jocelyn? F. The enharmonic note for F flat is Adriana? E. Okay, let me move this up for number 9.
I thought you were going with her question on those inlines. I was like, what?
9. Name the notes and indicate whether the distance between each pair is a whole step or a half step. If you're able to do anything correct on this test, it should be this right here. Some of us are still kind of confused about what I mean when I say move a whole step away from this note. Move a half step away from this note. And remember, this is the lesson, Ben, you're interrupting me. This is the lesson where I went back and pulled that lesson again and retaught it again. Do you remember that? So a whole step and a half step. Whole step is the very next note, either up or down. Sorry, half step is the very next note, either up or down. And a whole step is skipping one note, either up or down. Okay. So name the notes and indicate whether the distance between the pairs is a whole step or half step. So let's name the notes first. F and E, B and C, E and F, E and F, B and C, E and F. On every example in this page, before I started putting symbols on things, I went through and named the letters first. Okay? Now I can go through and put the symbols on. Nothing here. This is B flat, F sharp, E flat, and all those are the same. So I'm not real comfortable or familiar with the piano, so I'm looking at F and E and I'm trying to think, is that half step or a whole step apart? Well, I shouldn't just be thinking about it. You need to look at your keyboard. Look at your keyboard, find F and E. Is there anything in between F or E? There's not, so what's the distance? Half a step. Okay, between B flat and C, Serenity, half step or whole step? whole step, because if you put your finger or your pencil on B flat and move to C, you have to skip over a key, so that makes a whole step. Kayla, E to F sharp, is that half or whole? Whole step. Kayla, E flat to F, half or whole? It's a half step. Sorry, E flat to F is, sorry, yeah, you're right. I was thinking F flat. And B to C, Kayla, what's that? Very good. And Sierra, E to F, half step. Okay, I'm gonna turn this off.